Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide. We are reaching you live from Abuja. My name is Ogochkuka Ona. President Bola Tinubu is setting a new performance standard in Nigerian governance as he has categorically made clear that any underperforming ministerial aide will be shown the way out of his government. This is a forewarning the president gave at the 2023 cabinet retreat to prepare ministers and other presidential aides for the business of governance under the current administration. State House correspondent Musbah Odan Wahab's reports on the retreat under the theme Delivering on the Renewed Hope Agenda will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. And now Nigeria is seeking partnership with the United States government on food security. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the request when he met with Mr. Kari Fowler, U.S. Special Envoy for Global Food Security, as part of his engagements in the United States of America. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports. All right, that report will be brought to you in the course of the bulletin. And now the Senate has confirmed the appointment of Mr. Shaka Chira as the Auditor General of the Federation. Also screened and confirmed are 7 nominees as resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. They include Mr. Etekamba Umoren, Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Isa Ehimehai, Edo State, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, Ekiti State, Abubakar Marji, Gombe State, Shehu Wahab, Kwara State, Aminu Idris, Nasarawa State, and Mohammed Abubakar Sadiq, Niger State. In the course of the screening, the Senate commended President Tinubu for selecting persons of integrity to serve as resident electoral commissioners. The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Population to investigate the funds expended on the postponed 2023 population and housing census by the National Population Commission. Following a debate led by Representative Dominic Okafo, the House resolved to liaise with the National Population Commission to ensure a successful population and housing census when proclaimed by the President.
If the population and housing census fails to take place within 12 months, the information gathered across the country will become stale, a waste of resources, and the country will have to increase costs of gathering fresh information.
National Assembly correspondent Mitare Ikben reports that another motion seeking the resuscitation of tanneries in the country for job and wealth creation in the leather industry was adopted by the House.
The implementation of Oji River Federal Tannery Pilot Scheme holds great promise for job creation, economic diversification, reduction of high unemployment rate among Nigerian youth, skill development, sustainable livelihood, and reduction of social vices. The House resolves as follows: urge the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology to conduct a comprehensive assessment and thorough evaluation of the abandoned federal pilot tannery at Oji River in Enugu State.
The Court of Appeals sitting in Abuja has sacked the former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Soswam, from the Senate. The appellate court in a unanimous decision by a three-member panel of justices led by Justice Abimbola Osarigwe Obaseki Adejumo averred that it was satisfied that Soswam was not the valid winner of the senatorial election that held in Benue Northeast on February 25, 2023. The court faulted the judgment of the Benue State National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal, which returned Soswam of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the Senate after it nullified the election victory of Emmanuel Udende of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The appellate court held that the tribunal wrongly evaluated the evidence that was presented before it by the parties in the matter and thereby arrived at an erroneous conclusion that upheld the petition Soswam filed to challenge Udende's election victory. Consequently, the court voided the judgments of the tribunal, saying it found merits in the appeal that was lodged before it by the APC candidates. With this verdict, Emmanuel Udende of the All Progressives Congress is now the senator representing Benue Northeast senatorial districts. All right, we now take you back to our first report, which we told you that President Bola Tinubu is setting a new performance standard in Nigerian governance through the workshop he held, a retreat he held pardon. All right, sorry about that. Nigeria is seeking partnership with the United States government on food security. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the request when he met with Mr. Kari Fowler, U.S. Special Envoy for Global Food Security, as part of his engagements in the United States of America. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Not a positive increase, a decline in some yields.
Straight to the point, the interaction focused on identification of key areas where Nigeria will require urgent support towards addressing challenges in the agricultural sector. Mechanized farming, quality seeds, production, and smart agriculture are areas Nigeria is seeking partnership.
We'll keep the relationship, we'll nurture it, because more than ever before, we are facing real food security challenges, and we have to think outside the box. We have to look for ingenious solutions that can help us to cross the Rubicon. I believe with your support, the political will is there, now more than ever before, so that together we can save humanity and serve the human race. In Nigeria, we have research institutes that are devoted to millet and sorghum. You can partner with them. The Lechat Research Institute in Borno State has that mandate to dwell on millet and sorghum. And they are doing excellently well. They have come up with some breeds of sorghum and millet that the yield has literally multiplied.
The U.S. Special Envoy on Global Food Security said government, in partnership with other stakeholders, has launched an agricultural initiative assuring that Africa will be prioritized.
And in summary, what we're trying to do in working with African countries is two things. One is to help African countries at the national level, governments, down to the farm level, manage the soil more properly to ensure sustainability and productivity. So to do much more sophisticated soil mapping and analytics and modeling to give you the kind of information you would need to make better decisions about land use, where to plant, what kind of infrastructure would be needed in certain areas based on what the soil can give you or can't.
The U.S. government has also established a $100 million multi-donor trust fund between the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the United States Agency for International Development to provide long-term funding for a program aimed at improving indigenous African crops and proper soil management for all to ensure sustainability and productivity. Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
The process of dispensing justice, people normally say, is built and sustained through public trust and confidence in judicial decisions. However, the challenge of inadequate facilities have been identified as a hindrance to effective justice delivery. The Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf, says provision of more facilities is in the offing towards enhancing the performance of the judicial officers. This was at the opening of the 2022-2024 legal year of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. Labode Arewa reports.
This beautiful but solemn procession mounted by judges in the FCT judiciary marked the commencement of the new legal year. Having concluded the annual recess of the courts of justice, the determination and desire to adjudicate on cases brought before them this legal year is evident on their faces. Giving an account of the activities and proceedings in the High Court of the FCT within the last 1 year, the Chief Judge said 58 judges sat on 18,465 pending and new cases, while magistrates in the various judicial divisions attended to 12,983 matters. He said the adoption of e-filing and virtual proceedings have made justice dispensation faster and less cumbersome.
Our goal is to uphold the principles of openness, transparency, and accessibility in determining justice. Our essential task is to make independent and impartial decisions on disputes brought before us for resolution and to serve the overall interest of justice.
MPAs will strive to make our justice system more efficient, more responsive, and more resilient.
Authorities of the High Court of the FCT say a review of its civil procedure rules is in the offing with the aim of sustaining the culture of judicial excellence the High Court of the FCT is known for. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
We'll now be going to Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Today, Hingino, it's over to you.
As Nigerians look forward to free, fair and credible governorship elections come November 11 in Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo states, many are hopeful that the processes will be hitch-free. Bolaji Akim in this report takes a look at the position of the electoral law and constitution in off-cycle elections.
Since 1999, when Nigeria returned to democracy, changing of baton from one administration to another has always been through election, which is conducted every 4 years. However, some states have been conducting their governorship election outside the general elections calendar due to court pronouncement or change of election results. States like Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo will be going to the poll come November 11.
Electoral law came into place to fill this vacuum. That's why the INEC were able to come with these laws that create a space for the subsequent elections to be held. Probably there were lacuna in the time these new governors were sworn in. The incumbent must run its full term, which is 4 years.
The Electoral Act's stricto sensu is a creation of the law of the National Assembly, no doubt. So the essence of the electoral law is to regulate the conduct of elections in the country. And as it is, there have always been several amendments to make sure it gets better.
Legal practitioners are of the opinion on the need to review the electoral law to take care of challenges emanating from off-cycle election in line with present situation.
One of the fear is that the party machinery might concentrate in these few states to distort the election. That's the fear. Unlike when it's being conducted at the same time around the whole 32 states.
Where the law too is slippery on practice on the direction that the electoral umpire should go. This leaves a lot of lacuna, it leaves a lot of gap.
Stakeholders says following the electoral law and playing the game according to the rules by all political gladiators will lead to free and fair election. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The effects of biofouling on the maritime environment and climate change are enormous, and stakeholders are advocating the use of technology to check the envisaged impact of maritime biofouling. Bolaji Akim again reports.
With 90% of global trade done through the seas and oceans, the need to protect and secure it from environmental factors has become imperative. Nigeria, a beneficiary of the wealth that comes from the blue economy, is ready to explore the untapped potentials with the creation of Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy by the present administration. This has given the country the opportunity to take full advantage of our coastal area for economic growth in line with international best practices.
There was a time we were using tin, organotin products, but it was discovered that these are very toxic elements, and it's not just safe to aquatic animals, and they eventually get into human beings, which is very bad. So that is why we are now advocating for modern technologies.
The amount of pollution emission into the atmosphere as a result of increase in speed is also reflect on the climate change, release of carbon oxide into the atmosphere.
Biofouling, which is the transportation of sea organisms attached to external space of ships from one coastal area to another, stands as an obstacle to harnessing full potentials of the sea. If not checked, can lead to social and economical loss and also serve as a threat to Nigeria's blue economy.
We have to put our head together, understand the rudiment, the challenges, the problems, and then we bring out solutions.
Our aim and mandate is to build capacity for climate change mitigation in the shipping and maritime industry throughout the African continent.
Stakeholders in the maritime sector believe adopting technology in managing marine biofouling, as well as embracing the International Maritime Organization IMO's convention, will go a long way in addressing the challenges biofouling posed to the industry. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. We will continue nationwide with Obehi in Benin after this break.
Come to Benin. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has promised to complete all ongoing projects in the state before the expiration of his tenure in office. He stated this shortly after inspecting the construction of former Stella Obasanjo Hospital, School of Health Technology, Palm House at the State Secretariat, among others. Goodluck Enaini reports.
The State Executive Council arose from the weekly ESCO meeting and headed for the inspection. First, it was the former Stella Obasanjo Hospital, where the outpatient facility has been concluded.
We now have a network of primary healthcare centers, the Edo Specialist Hospital, and then you then have this comprehensive health hub with an international standard hospital that will have up to 12 specializations. I'm glad to inform you that most of the equipment for that hospital are already in country, and as soon as the civil works are completed, we'll commence their installation.
Thereafter, Governor Obaseki headed for the School of Health Technology, believed to be the Institute for Training of Manpower. Workers were on the site executing projects, just as the governor and his entourage undertook inspection of the project bid to be completed in the first quarter of 2024.
I will have 6 specializations. We'll be able to cater to over 1,000 students, about 400 or 500 in each stream. I'm very pleased with the progress of work, and as I promised you, before the middle of next year, these projects will be delivered.
The governor is pleased with the ongoing renovation work at the Palm House, constructed in 1973 by the then administration of the late Samuel Ogbemudia. The governor says the journey to make Edo great again is possible and seek the cooperation of the citizens. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Active involvement of youths in governance has been described as a necessary tool for sustainable development, economic growth, and effective service delivery. Some analysts expressed this view while speaking on the role of Nigerian youths in governance. Jude Abugu tells us more.
Nigerian youths, like their counterparts world over, are considered valuable assets in driving economic growth and development of the country. As such, they have special place in nation building.
They have a large chunk of numbers. An election is not won by emotion. Election is won by numbers. And the Nigerian youth control that particular numbers. So as long as they partake in the process, they're supposed to partake in governance. That is how to build your youth to take over power after the older ones.
2023 general election have really shown us how committed, how interesting that Nigerian youth are with governance in Nigeria. There has been a lot of involvement in terms of participation, in terms of interest, in terms of getting involved.
The growing interest of Nigerian youths in politics in recent times, analysts say, is yet to translate to any meaningful contribution to effective governance.
But when you have people who believe so much in the youth, you agree with me that they will give us time and give us the platform to grow, give us the platform to showcase whatever abilities we have.
We have been so threatened by the political elites that we are not timid when we hear things that have to do with politics. We don't see it like a reality, so we don't actually want to get involved or get engaged in it.
Respondents believe that Nigerian youths deserve more responsibilities in governance. In Benin, Jude Abubu, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Ogochukwuka in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Obehi. Culture, they say, is a way of life of a group of people. It is the behavior, values, and beliefs that people accept to guide their ways and practices. However, failure by some Nigerian youths to appreciate and imbibe our cultural values due to uncontrolled exposures to modernity has been attributed to cases of moral decadence, crime, prostitution, and other vices among youths. Eugenia Ndubisi examines latest efforts as reawakening cultural heritage in youths.
Culture of respect, greetings, hard work, honesty, obedience, humility, among other values, experts say is passed by mostly communication and imitation from one generation to another for sustainability. However, the impact of modernity on traditional values is posing serious threats to cultural beliefs for self-regulation of behavior among youth.
A lot of our children are hooked on social media, learning garbages from outside Africa and outside Nigeria. So we need to give them the orientation.
A lot of westernization has had a very, very negative impact on the way we view ourselves.
The way we can use culture to fight crime is to extrapolate those virtues that the culture emphasizes.
Stakeholders encourage parents to share human cultural traits of good morals and values with their children. In Benin, Eugenia Ndubisi, NTA News.
And we now join Uduak Obongo, who is there live. Uduak, I guess you have talked to one or two young people concerning this, and what are their thoughts about our cultural values?
Yes, we have. Thank you, Ogochukwuka, on that. Yes, we have, but right here, we have somebody that's going to speak on that because a lot of factors have been attributed to social vices among Nigerians, especially the youths, and the need for reorientation, cultural reorientation. And I have here with me a lecturer, Department of Linguistics, University of Benin, but she has a tongue-twisting name, and I would like her to say it herself.
Thank you. I am Dr. Mrs. Osayimese Evagio Violet.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, we are looking at social vices among the youth. What factors are responsible for these?
Well, to be very candid, a breakdown in our cultural values and norms, a total collapse in our cultural templates, And, imbibing the culture of our African nature in our children has really led to a whole lot of lapses, and it has created a whole lot of vices. It has caused our youth a lot of problems. Today, many of these youth are doing so many things that are contrary to our African nature and African culture. Before now, youths have no business holding guns. Youth have no business being involved in kidnapping. Youth have no business being involved in cultism. Youth have no business killing someone or even having the mind of cutting a human being. But today, the reverse is the case. Many of our youth are doing so many things that makes you afraid as an African person. You find it so strange to understand that our youth can go into some of these vices. And the truth is, they are not being orientated. They are not being aware of some of the norms and values of our culture. They are not being part of the culture. They've all deviated from our culture. Many of them are not opportuned to enjoy the favor, to enjoy the pleasure that some of us have enjoyed. Many of these children are not opportuned to be taught and to be given the values of our culture. A lot of these values are tied to our religion. They are tied to our principles, our discipline, nature, and all of this. Today, many parents are not even there. They just think that all it takes to have children is to provide money, money, money. Whereas that's just one part of raising a child.
Yes, from what you're saying so far, that means that things need to be done. So what are your suggestions and recommendations? What are your recommendations and projections? What do you think should be done to ensure that these vices among Nigerians, especially the youth, are reduced or curbed?
Well, as far as culture is concerned, we need to go back to our roots. We need to wake up from our slumber. We need to begin to teach our children what they need to know. As a parent, you need to bring these children close to yourself. You need to have time for them. You need to teach them in the cultural values of our people. You need to let our children to know the things that are vices in our culture. You need to know that taking a life is not part of our culture. You need to know that respect for ourselves is part of what we call our culture. You need to also teach these children in the school. Our schools have to be orientated down from the primary school to the basic secondary, down to the higher secondary, and even in the university. Culture needs to be a part of the course, a curriculum that should be taught to these children. These children need to know what they do not know. They need to know the values. They need to know what we call integrity of a Nigerian person. They need to know what it takes for you to call yourself an African man. The love you have for yourself and the love you have for your neighbor. We used to live a communal life when African template started. The African, if you read history, you see that the African man, they live in communal life. They live in community. They live in oneness. They have values and love for one another. But today, people are no longer interested in their individuals. If you are interested in your neighbor, if you love your neighbor, you won't want to take his or her life. If you love the people around you, you won't want to steal from them.
All right, ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've been speaking with a doctor from the Linguistics Department, University of Benin. That's it from this end. It's back to Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Uduak, and our guests there. Now, the PDP Governors Forum has welcomed the intervention of President Bola Tinubu to bring the crisis in Rivers State to an end. This was the forum's meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
10 PDP governors attended the meeting. Members of the National Working Committee of the PDP also attended the meeting. The governors said they were alarmed at the recent development in Rivers State and urged all parties to resort to peaceful means of resolution. The meeting also noted the recent judgment of the Supreme Court on the 2023 presidential election and believes that this brings an end to the presidential election cycle, as there must be an end to litigation.
We are concerned that while the Supreme Court has laid down precedents on pre-election issues, PDP candidates in Plateau State have been disqualified on the same grounds. We urge the judiciary at the apex level to ensure that our jurisprudence is not distorted.
While the forum remains vigilant in the struggles for democracy and good governance in the country, the meeting promised to reposition and strengthen PDP as a viable opposition political party, ready and willing to play its role as the vanguard of the Nigerian people for democracy, good governance and accountability. On the national economy, the meeting requested the intervention of the federal government to stabilize the naira, control inflation, stem the unemployment crisis, and bring more succor to Nigerians. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The advocate for social justice has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment in wiping out corruption and other forms of financial crimes. Of particular mention is the repositioning of the oil and gas sector. The group also appealed to Code of Conduct Bureau and other financial regulatory bodies to beam their searchlights in ensuring that political office holders make their assets available for scrutiny before clearance to run for any public office.
Concerns is to help unravel the intents and purposes concerning the background of financial assets declared by the newly sworn-in executive governor of Zamfara State. As long as the president has thrown his weight behind fighting corruption, we should all be out as Nigerians to help him identify the loopholes for him to strengthen and move this country forward.
Advocate for social justice decried the huge assets declared by some public office holders and appealed to all relevant and regulatory financial bodies to conduct proper investigation and prosecute offenders to save the nation of avoidable loss of wealth. The governorship candidate of the Accord Party in the upcoming November 11th election in Kogi State, former Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Jibrin Usman, has vowed to tackle the perennial flood issues in the state if elected as governor. In a briefing at the Accord Party headquarters in Abuja, Vice Admiral Usman says solving the environmental challenge is a responsibility of all Kogi State citizens and must be tackled headlong.
Harmoniously, and to that extent, so that we can develop the state for the benefit of all. And using my background, you will note that there is no single tribe that is not in the military. And because I had the opportunity to head the service called the Nigerian Navy, you should know that I must have been brought up to accommodate all tribes, all shades of opinion, and move the state forward.
He added that the Accord Party administration in the state will ensure that the citizens of Kogi State are also alleviated from poverty. The heightened political intensity in Kogi State is one of the factors contributing to the surge in traffic. This surge is exacerbated by the fact that it coincides with the Ember months, a period known for heavy traffic across the state. Kogi, with its central location and its borders shared with 9 neighboring states and the Federal Capital Territory, finds itself at the epicenter of this traffic storm. Its status as a pivotal gateway connecting the northern and southern regions of Nigeria amplifies the volume of vehicles on its roads, making traffic management a Herculean task. Our correspondent Solomon Ayedehin reports.
In the lead up to the highly anticipated Kogi State governorship election on November 11, the region is experiencing a surge in political activities resulting in increased vehicular movement. Political contenders are crisscrossing the state, diligently seeking to secure the favor of voters. This unique confluence of events underscores the importance of effective traffic management to mitigate road accidents and prevent unnecessary loss of lives on Kogi State's roadways.
Our state is a very critical state in Nigeria because it's the nucleus of the nation. Every vehicle that applies the country to the north, to the south, must pass through the state.
Stakeholders are vocal in their call for comprehensive traffic management measures. They emphasize the need for a coordinated effort to ensure the safety of all road users, not only during the election period, but also throughout the upcoming season.
And we expect critical stakeholders, especially the Federal Road Safety Commission, to up the stake and ensure that congestion on the roads are reduced to the barest minimum.
Officials from the Federal Road Safety Corps have reassured the public that they have already implemented the necessary strategies and measures to ensure the safety of road users during this critical period, including the election and the forthcoming holiday season. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Now, Solomon Ayedehi is at Natako, one of the busiest areas in Lokoja. Solomon, how are the parties preparing for the poll at the election as the election approaches? And is the election campaign attracting traffic in the area?
Thank you very much. I am right now at Natako area of Lokoja Metropolis. Incidentally, Natako provides a melting point for travelers and motorists, particularly those coming from the northern part of the country going southern part and vice versa. Traffic is always very thick here, particularly during the Yuletide, and also as it concerns the election. The community here, they never sleeps. Businesses thrive here in Natako area. And trust me, if you are traveling to any part of the country, once you get here, be rest assured that you will get vehicle that will take you to your destination. And talking about politics, according to INEC, 18 political parties are participating in the upcoming Kogi State governorship election, and the political actors have been going up and down the state canvassing for votes. And this also has added up to increase traffic on Kogi roads ahead of the election, and coupled with the fact that we are now in the ember months. And managing the traffic has not been very, very easy. And to discuss the issue of traffic management with me is the Corps Commander, Samuel Sunday Oyedeji, the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Kogi State. Sir, campaign has been on. How has it been managing the traffic?
Yes, definitely. Like you said, my name is Samuel Sunday Oyedeji. I'm the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety, Kogi. The campaign has been on for a very long time now, but we in the FRSC, we have been trying our best to ensure that we manage the traffic. And as far for some time now, we have not recorded any road traffic accidents since the beginning or the commencement of the campaign.
Yes, recently you launched the Ember Months program. What does that entail, and what should motorists expect going into the holiday season?
Yes, we launched our Ember Month flag up about 3 weeks ago. Since then, we have been trying to ensure that the motorists keep to the rules of the game. During this period, we are trying to make sure we set up camps so that we deploy our men to a bad portion of the road so that they can try as much as possible to manage the traffic at this season. Then we'll be going to churches, going to mosques, going to motor parks to sensitize people on how to drive safely during this period so that we don't record any road traffic crashes during this Ember Month period.
I don't know, can we have an idea of how many personnel you are likely to deploy during the Yuletide?
Yes, we are expecting, apart from the staff or personnel we have in Kogi State, we are expecting some staff or personnel from neighboring states to join us in the management of traffic in Kogi State. Apart from that, we are expecting some senior staff too from the national headquarters to join us in the supervision of the traffic management in Kogi State during the Ember Month period.
Thank you, Mr. Oyedeji. All hands must be on deck to ensure that the roads in Kogi State are accident-free as we go into the Yuletide and ahead of the Kogi State governorship election. That's it from me. Back to you in the studios.
Thank you, Solomon. And now, still on the security situation there, the Social Democratic Party, SDP, has appealed for a higher level of scrutiny on the security situation in Kogi State to ensure a credible governorship election come November 11, 2023. The national chairman of the party, Shehu Gabam, raised security concerns while addressing journalists at the party's secretariat in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State off-cycle elections are in sight, with political activities on top gear and sometimes taking unusual dimensions, with Kogi State in the news for alleged political rancor and security breach. This, the Social Democratic Party says, if it is not well addressed, could mar the outcome of the process.
Last meeting with the service chiefs and INEC, the security agencies admitted that the level of insecurity in Kogi is very high, and they are willing to act on it.
Social Democratic Party is also urging INEC, security operatives and other stakeholders in the electoral process to ensure they deliver their mandate professionally.
Nigeria, as one of the biggest countries in Africa, the biggest democracy in Africa, we must lead by example. We must do the needful. We must protect the system. We must protect the sanctity of the process.
The party is also alleging intimidation of its candidates and supporters and appealed for watertight security ahead of the election proper. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And for more reports from Maiduguri zone, we now join Abubakar.
Good to see you, Ogochukwuka, and thank you for joining us. A week after inauguration of the reconstructed Maiduguri Monday Market, the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, has extended 2 billion naira lifeline to victims of fire disaster that razed the market. Fatima Isa reports that the donation was handed over to Governor Babagana Umar Zulum when he received the newly reconstituted governing board and management of the commission.
Governor Babagana Umar Zulum inaugurating the reconstructed Monday Market months after it was knocked down by unprecedented fire disaster that lasted 3 days, burning assets. Beyond the multi-billion naira project and 2 years tax waivers granted the traders, squatters displaced in the market were assured of monetary support by the governor.
Apart from this, we have also about 640 squatters. Those squatters will also be given 100,000 naira each. A total of about 800 million naira will be given by Borno State government to those that have not benefited from the allocation of the shops inside the market.
The latest support of the victims came from the Northeast Development Commission, an intervention agency established to help in rebuilding the northeastern Nigeria after prolonged years of insurgency.
Your Excellency, considering the scarce resources of the states, you are able to take us through, and the market is now reopened.
Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, who was full of praises for the commission, especially for living up to the expectations of its founders, enjoined them to initiate more of such gesture capable of assisting the region to rapidly meet up with the losses suffered during the insurgency period. Members of the commission were also at Kondiga and Bama local government areas for project inspection. In Maiduguri, Fatima Isa, NTA News.
Away from that now, to tell you that the ongoing fight against climate change in Yobe State has received a major boost with the recent launching of 2023 tree planting campaign by Governor Mai Malabuni in Kukareta, a suburb community on the outskirts of Damaturu, the state capital. This was in furtherance of a drive aimed at restoring degraded land and increased vegetation cover in line with the state's climate change action plan. Here is Yunusa Suleiman with the rest of the story.
With a theme, plant a tree today for our sustainable future and development, this year's tree planting campaign is another wake-up call to people of the state to rededicate themselves in the task of securing the future of the present generation, as well as many generations to come, as climate change poses a grave danger to the survival of many communities across the state. Governor Mai Malabuni, who launched the campaign, says the 2023 tree planting campaign further demonstrates the commitment of government in the state in combating desertification, desert encroachment, drought, as well as other climate change-induced challenges in the state.
Climate change issue is real, and we should all endeavor to thwart the challenge by adopting positive attitudes such as massive tree planting campaign, avoidance of indiscriminate felling of trees, and effective enlightenment on the dangers of negative human activities to the environment.
The governor enjoined local authorities, the state ministries of environment and that of information, and other critical players to intensify sensitization and enlightenment of general public on the importance of tree planting as well as prevention of negative human practices against the environment. This effort is coming as the World Bank-assisted project ACRISOL is gearing up to reclaim at least 100,000 hectares of degraded land in the state in the next 6 years. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories. For now, from Maiduguri, let us at this point return to Ogochikuka in Abuja for more reports this evening.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. And now back in Abuja, the Association of Nigerian Television Authority Pensioners, ANTAP, commends federal government's decision to cushion the effect of subsidy removal with a sum of 25,000 naira for 3 months and appeals for more. This was at the 2023 annual conference of the association in Abuja. Bosede Abel reports.
Members of the association converge on Abuja to deliberate on issues of concern. Top amongst them are issues of welfare, prompt payments, and the challenges encountered in the October payment by Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, which is not peculiar to NTA pensioners alone.
Harmonization of pension have been on the front burner of discourse for long. There is hardly any forum conveying in pension matter that harmonization is not an offer.
Keep yourself abreast with things that are happening. Do not bother yourselves with certain things that you cannot solve.
With government effort to ensure a seamless verification for pensioners across board, the members were enlightened on how the process works.
We are going to see where the NTA will come in to assist them. By the time I brief the DG, since I represented him, the management will be able to see how they can cushion the effect or see how they can come in to assist them, which they will definitely get something from them, inshallah.
The federal government, in particular, to assist pensioners in general, is one, or medical, as national health insurance. They should extend it to pensioners, because what we spend on health is more than what we spend on feeding. It is alarming, and the cost of medical care is outrageous. And we plead that federal government should, as a matter of urgency, do that to pensioners.
If the federal government can assist them with their desired cushion effect, I think it will go a long way.
NTA pensioners say they are optimistic that with the reforms by the present administration, better days are ahead. In Abuja, Bosede Abel, NTA News.
We'll now be joining Sokoto for more reports on Nationwide. Sadia Omadigi is standing by. Sadia, what's the latest?
Okay. Women in Sokoto State have been challenged to prioritize their health by taking preventive measures against breast cancer and other diseases. Wife of Sokoto State Governor Fatima Ahmed Aliyu made the case during an event to sensitize the public on dangers of breast cancer, prevention and cure. Zainab Said Abdul Nasir reports.
The wife of the Sokoto State Governor Hajia Fatima Ahmed Aliyu, who was a special guest of honor at the Breast Cancer Awareness Day, assured that Sokoto State government is ready to provide necessary support to strengthen the health sector and fight breast cancer. She said the administration of Dr. Ahmed Aliyu will continue to work with stakeholders in fighting breast cancer in the state. She urged women to make regular medical checkup a priority to ensure early detection, calling on people of the state to support government to move the state forward.
This administration will continue to work diligently and partner with all stakeholders to ensure that everyone, regardless of their economic circumstances, has access to the health care.
One of the speakers, Dr. Larry Tambwell, described breast cancer as a world health threat and non-communicable disease that may lead to degeneration when ignored.
Breast cancer is a non-communicable disease that has been killing people.
Dr. Fatima Ahmad Adam of Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital said the fight against breast cancer needs collaborative efforts. She identified inability to go for medical checkups and lack of support as some of the challenges faced by women. The theme for this year's campaign is Pink Together, Stronger Forever.
Government will continue to contribute toward ensuring that the breast cancer awareness is fully operational.
A procession led by the wife of the Sokoto State Governor was held as part of the awareness campaign and for maintenance of good health for women. In Sokoto, Zainab Saidu Abdul Nasir, NTA News.
Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has expressed readiness to support the fight against drug abuse by the federal government. He gave the assurance during a meeting with the officials of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Sokoto State Command, and district heads from the 23 local government areas of the state. The report.
The meeting, which brought together all the district heads in Sokoto State, holds periodically and issues of importance are discussed. One of the issues that dominated discussions was insecurity. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar called for prayers for God's intervention on banditry in the northern part of the country. He commended the move by Sokoto State government to establish the community guards, asserting that it will complement efforts of security agencies towards tackling insecurity. During the meeting, Commander, National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, Sokoto State Command Adamu Muhammad Iro, briefed the district heads on efforts by the agency to fight drug abuse even in the remotest villages. The commander said the agency will establish offices in the 23 local government areas of Sokoto State.
I can assure you that if you have any information concerning to drug dealing in your own community, feel free to come out and give us information and your identity will be covered completely.
The Sultan had earlier assured of continued support by traditional leaders to the fight against sales and consumption of illicit drugs. He described drug abuse as destructive and worrisome and called on everyone to support the fight against the menace. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdul Nasir, NTA News.
And that's nationwide this afternoon. Thanks for staying with us. Good afternoon.